Today's lesson is Introduction to Writing and Solving Percent Word Problems, and this is part 1, where we're going to be finding the part. We can use the equation y equals kx in many forms and in many ways. Today we're going to use it to help us write and solve word problems that involve percentages. In fact, we're going to change the variables so that they represent what we need for this unit. Unfortunately, my Apple Pen is not working at this time, so if you could put up with my messy writing currently, and we'll try to get through this. So you're going to notice that you're going to see this P, this variable P, and that stands for part. So we're looking for a part, and this will become more clear as we read through the problems. The R stands for percentage rate. And so we're going to use the percentage rate, but we're going to convert it to a decimal. And finally, the T stands for total, and sometimes the word whole is used. So here are the steps for writing an equation involving percentages. We're going to read the problem and find the percent given. We're going to look for that first. We're going to substitute R, the letter R, with that number. Next, we're going to decide if we're given the total amount, also known as the whole amount, or part of a total, and replace the T if it's the total, or the P if it's the part. Next, we're going to convert the percent to a decimal with 2 scoops to the left, or by dividing by 100. Finally, we're going to solve and find the missing information. So let's get started. There are 240 7th and 8th grade students enrolled at Washington Middle School, and 40% of the students enrolled plan on attending the end-of-the-year field trip. How many students plan on attending the field trip? Write and solve an equation to answer this question. So, as our directions say, we want to read the problem and find the percent given. And the reason I said that is because it's usually the easiest to spot. It says 40% of the students enrolled plan on attending the field trip. They did give us another number, 240. So we need to decide whether that's the total amount of students or the part amount of students. And it turns out it says there are 240 7th and 8th graders enrolled, which means that is a total. So we're looking then for the part. So we're going to leave our variable P because we don't know the part. We're going to replace our percentage with the percentage of 40%. And then we're going to replace the T with 240. So now we've replaced numbers where the R and the T is. It tells us next to convert the percent to a decimal, either using 2 scoops or dividing by 100. Well, I'm going to use the 2 scoops method. I'm starting the decimal at the end and scooping 2 places to the left. So we now have the part equals 0.4, or we could put it 0.40 if it makes it more comfortable for you, times 240. So pause for a moment and use your calculator to take 0.4 times 240. So P equals 96. So let's look back and figure out what we answered. How many students plan on attending the field trip? So if I could write a little bit better, I would answer that by saying 96 students plan on attending the field trip. Let's move on to the next page. So we're going to focus today on just finding the part. We're going to write and solve an equation for each problem. We're going to substitute the percent and the whole, or the total, into the formula. And then we're going to convert the percent to a decimal before multiplying. So we're going to do A together. I'm going to ask you to try B on your own and C on your own, and then you can look back and see if you agree and make corrections as needed. There are 25 students in Mrs. Smith's class, and 60 are 8th graders. How many 8th graders are in Mrs. Smith's class? Well, let's highlight our information. We're going to start first by saying that there's 25 students in her class. So that sounds like a total to me. The percent is usually easy to spot. So we know the rate. We're using that where the rate is. And they're asking us how many students, how many eighth graders, so that's part of the students that are in Mrs. Smith's class. So we're going to use our formula, part equals rate times total. And then we don't know the part, that's what we're asked, how many are eighth graders out of her total number. The percentage rate they give us is 60%. And then we're going to multiply that times the total number of students, which is 25. Before we multiply, we have to remember to get rid of the percent and scoop the decimal 2 places to the left. And so now here's what we're going to work with. We're going to put 0.60, or 0.6 would work, times 25. So pause and do that in your calculator. And the part of her students that are eighth graders are 15. So again, if I was working with my iPen, I would write that in a sentence to answer the question. How many eighth graders in Mr. Smith's class? There are 15 eighth graders. Let's look at letter B. Anna took a survey. She asked 40 students what was their favorite ice cream flavor. Chocolate ice cream was preferred by 65% of the students. How many students like chocolate ice cream? Please set up an equation using part equals rate times total. And look back at your answers. We're trying to find the part, so we leave P. The rate that is given is 65%, and the total is given, total number of students she asked is 40. Now please convert the percent to a decimal and then multiply. The final answer should be 26, and once again, that was 26 students that liked chocolate ice cream out of 40. Would you please complete letter C on your own? Pause the video now and then look back at the answer. Check back for the answer. The answer should be 45 students, or 45 questions were answered correctly. Here's the percent, and there were a total of 60 questions on the test, and it asked how many questions did he answer correctly. So we would write this in sentence form. Sal answered 45 questions correctly. Thank you for being patient with my poor writing. Hopefully my Apple Pen will start working again. And now I'd like you to try the practice set, the following page on your own. Take care.